So the HOA president found out about the tenants' aliases and criminal history and told all of the neighbors, and now they're all freaking out. In one of my earlier videos, I talked about finding out that the tenant had a name change and past aliases. And yes, there was some criminal activity, which I will go into. At the time, I didn't address it with her because frankly, she was already in the house. It wasn't relevant to the rental decision. And the reason it wasn't relevant to the rental decision was because the application met the required criteria at the time. This was a Section 8 lease. The rent is paid through Section 8, and she qualifies under those guidelines. There were no other applicants for the property, and my client was in a position where he needed the rental income to cover the mortgage. It wasn't that he didn't have savings, he did, but those funds had already been used to address major issues on the property. First, there was a significant leak that required repair. Then, the staircase had to be replaced because it had been built without permits, and it was incredibly uneven and unsafe. It was so steep, it was essentially like climbing a ladder, so it had to go. Honestly, the fact of the matter is the name change was done legally, and it's not something that would have prohibited her legally from renting the property. But now that the HOA president and the neighbors have become aware of it, they're raising concerns. I felt it was appropriate to address it directly with the tenant to better understand the situation. So I decided the best approach was to just have a conversation with the tenant. Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about it. Started out by saying, I want to let you know that the HOA and the neighbors found out that you had a different name at some point in time. I acknowledged that it wasn't my business and that this would in no way affect any rental decision, and that this is something the neighbors had become aware of and were asking questions about. And I asked her if she was comfortable sharing what prompted the name change. She was actually very open and forthcoming. She explained that there was a past legal issue involving a passport application. Evidently, the criminal activity in question was the fact that she put in an application for a passport with a different name. That got dealt with through court, but according to her, the reason she did it was due to a stalking and harassment issue that was going on at the time. She was trying to rent a home under a different name so this person could not find her address. That was a major factor in why she ultimately pursued a legal name change. But what I do know is that a judge reviewed her case and approved the name change. So the name she's using today is legally recognized. And from a housing and legal standpoint, that's the only thing that matters. But now we have another issue because the junk removal people were supposed to come on Friday. Then it got changed to Saturday, and ultimately they never came. The HOA jumped on it, sent me a photo and a second notice. And now the tenant is threatening to call her attorney, which she has the right to do.